Draymond Green is about to make far more money than LeBron James next season. Even after helping the Warriors clear salary to bring LeBron to Golden State, LeBron has finally addressed the surprising salary gap, and his response wasn't what most people expected. Let's start with the number that broke the internet. Draymond Green just locked in a one-year contract worth $27.7 million to stay with the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors and veteran forward Draymond Green have agreed to a new one-year, $27.7 million contract. That's not a typo. $27.7 million for one season for a 36-year-old forward who isn't the athlete he used to be. Now here's where it gets interesting. LeBron James, sitting at the very top of the NBA's scoring charts, the same guy who's been the face of the league for over 2 decades, just signed for a fraction of that. 22-time All-Star and 4-time NBA champion LeBron James has agreed to a 2-year, $8 million deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. $8 million total over 2 years, not per year total. Split that out and you get roughly $4 million a season, give or take how the option structures out. Compare that to Draymond's $27.7 and the math isn't close. Draymond Green this offseason is set to out-earn LeBron James by more than $20 million in actual salary. To put it in real terms, James is signing a 2-year deal worth $8 million to join the 76ers, his smallest contract since first entering the league as a rookie, with a player option for the second season if he chooses to play that long. This is a guy who at his peak was pulling in over $50 million a year. Now he's making less than several role players on his own new roster. And that's not an exaggeration. Most of the 76ers cap space is tied up in Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, and Tyrese Maxey, who make over $163 million between the three of them. And James now becomes the 7th highest paid player on the team, as VJ Edgecombe, Dean Wade, and Anthony Simons will all make more than him as well. Read that again. Rookies and role players on the Sixers bench are out-earning LeBron James this season. And so is Draymond Green, sitting 3,000 miles away in the Bay Area. The scale of the drop is what makes this story impossible to ignore. LeBron James signed a 2-year, $8 million contract with the Philadelphia 76ers to extend his historically long NBA career, a sizable pay cut for James, whose earnings and investments on and off the court have cemented his billionaire status for years. His deal marks a 92% pay cut from his $52.6 million salary the previous season. 92%. That's not trimming the budget. That's starting over. And it's not just a big number, it's a record-setting one. When LeBron James decided to join the Philadelphia 76ers on a 2-year, $8 million contract, he locked in some interesting NBA history, becoming the player to take the biggest pay cut ever. Add that to the trophy case next to the scoring record and the All-Star appearances. Now he's got a new kind of history, the largest single drop in pay any NBA player has ever willingly signed up for. Meanwhile, on the other coast, Draymond's number wasn't even supposed to be news. It's the exact same salary he already had lined up before free agency even opened. This new contract keeps Green with the Warriors through the 2026-27 season, which is the same deal Green would have received if he decided to exercise his player option instead of opting out. He didn't take a discount. He didn't take a risk. He landed right back where he started, except now, because of what LeBron chose to do, that same old number suddenly reads like a headline. So how did we get here? How did LeBron James, the most bankable name basketball has ever produced, end up making less than the guy guarding the corner 3 for the Warriors? It starts with a decision LeBron made weeks before Draymond's deal was even finalized. A decision that set off the entire chain of events that led to this exact moment. To understand why LeBron is now earning less than Draymond, you have to go back to the free agency period that just wrapped up, and it wasn't quiet. LeBron spent weeks weighing his next move, and reports made clear this wasn't about who could pay him the most. James spent almost a month as a free agent deciding between teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers, Miami Heat, and Golden State Warriors. Golden State was in that mix, not as a rumor, as a real serious pursuit. The front office had already started clearing the books to make a run at him, hoping to pair him with Steph Curry and Draymond Green for one final chase at a title. The Warriors believed they had a legitimate shot at pairing James with Stephen Curry. But then the call came. James chose Philadelphia, signing a 2-year deal with the 76ers. Not the Lakers he was leaving, not the Cavaliers who drafted him, not the Heat, where 2 of his championships came from, not the Warriors, where his buddy Draymond was waiting. Philadelphia, a team most people weren't even talking about as a real contender for his signature. Money had nothing to do with it. LeBron said as much himself. He wrote that he thought he was done when the season ended, that he wasn't ready to announce it and needed time to really decide, that he was honest when he said he needed to look at himself and decide if he still loved the game, and that he still truly loved it and had more to give. Nowhere in that explanation is a number. Nowhere is there a mention of what the checks would look like. Instead, it was about winning. A source familiar with LeBron James's thinking told ESPN that LeBron's choice hinged on the pursuit of a championship, and after weighing his options, he believes that Philly gives him the best chance of doing that. He said it publicly too, laying out exactly why the Sixers made sense over everyone else chasing him. James posted on social media that he believes he can be the final piece to a 76ers championship team in a way he wouldn't be for the Heat, Cavaliers, or Warriors, saying he believes he can help make the Philadelphia 76ers a championship team and is excited to energize a new fan base. Now here's the piece that connects directly back to Draymond. Golden State wasn't just hoping LeBron would consider them. They were actively restructuring their roster to make it financially possible. And the guy who sacrificed the most to make that happen was Draymond Green himself. Before any of this played out, Draymond opted out of the exact contract he now holds. He gave it up voluntarily for one reason only. When Draymond Green opted out of his $27.7 million salary for next season, it was purely to give the Golden State Warriors the financial flexibility to pursue his good buddy LeBron James. Think about what that means. Draymond walked away from guaranteed millions, with zero promise he'd get an equal deal back, purely so his front office could try to lure LeBron to the Bay. That's not a small gesture. That's a guy betting his own paycheck on his friend saying yes. And LeBron said no. Once the news landed that Philadelphia was the pick, Golden State's whole plan collapsed in real time. Golden State's LeBron gamble failed, leaving the Warriors right back where they started with Green. The flexibility Draymond created had nowhere to go. There was no other superstar waiting in the wings. The pursuit had been built around one single name, and that name had already picked a different city. So Draymond didn't just lose out on a bigger long-term deal. For a moment, he didn't have a contract at all. And he wasn't shy about saying so publicly while it dragged on. He said he was still unsigned, that he had no contract offer, that the Warriors hadn't offered him a contract yet, and that they would figure it out. He even joked about it, noting he'd seen posts ranking free agents by how long they'd been waiting, and wanted to throw his hat in that bucket, adding that his free agency days were growing by the day. Draymond wasn't panicking, but he wasn't pretending everything was fine either. He made clear his patience, and everyone around him hadn't worn thin. No one's patience has worn thin. His patience hasn't worn thin. Rich Paul's patience hasn't worn thin. Neither have the Warriors' patience worn thin, nor anyone else for that matter. Once LeBron's decision was locked in, though, the path forward became obvious. There was no more reason for Golden State to keep Draymond on hold, and no more reason for Draymond to keep sacrificing money for a plan that no longer existed. Once LeBron picked Philadelphia, re-signing Green became the obvious move. That's the piece that makes this whole salary flip make sense. LeBron didn't just pick a smaller paycheck for himself. His decision directly determined how much Draymond ended up making too. If LeBron had said yes to the Warriors, Draymond's number might have looked completely different and probably smaller. If James had joined the Warriors, Charania noted that Green could have been inked to a longer-term deal at a lesser annual value, but Golden State gave its long-time do-it-all forward a deal that makes him a free agent once again next summer. So in a strange way, LeBron's decision to leave money on the table for himself is the exact same decision that put more money in Draymond's pocket. One domino tipped, and the other guy caught the payout. Now let's zoom in on what Golden State actually did once the LeBron chase ended, because the terms of Draymond's new deal tell their own story, and they explain exactly why this number landed the way it did. The deal isn't complicated on paper. Green and the Warriors have agreed to a $27.7 million deal through the 2026-27 season. But the context around it is what makes it notable. This was not a raise. It wasn't a bonus for loyalty. It was the Warriors simply giving Draymond back exactly what he'd already earned before he gave it up. Green's deal is the same as the one he opted out of before the 2026 free agency window, which allowed the team to have flexibility to pursue LeBron James. That detail matters because it shows how much value Golden State placed on keeping their core intact once the superstar swing didn't land. The move comes 4 days after the Warriors learned LeBron James had spurned a chance to join forces with Green and Steph Curry, and would instead sign with the Philadelphia 76ers, and Green declined his $27.7 million player option for the 2026-27 season on June 29, as a way to give the Warriors extra flexibility to pursue James among other potential upgrades. Draymond himself had already made his intentions about Golden State clear months before any of this unfolded. Green said on Inside the NBA in May, he couldn't envision himself in another uniform. So even with the uncertainty, even with the awkward stretch of no contract offer sitting on the table, there was never real doubt about where he'd end up. But there's a wrinkle in the deal that's worth pulling apart, because it shows this isn't quite the storybook ending it looks like on the surface. It's only a one-year commitment. The one concession Dunleavy secured was keeping the deal to a single year. Golden State's front office wanted the money to flow back to Draymond, but they weren't ready to hand him multiple years at his age. That's a real tension sitting underneath the celebration. Green isn't the athlete he was during Golden State's dynasty years, and the shorter contract preserves future flexibility while avoiding a longer commitment to an aging star. The Warriors are paying premium money for one more run, not building around him for the long haul. The Warriors get their emotional enforcer and defensive anchor back, but they're still paying premium money for a roster that looks well past its championship window. There's also a detail buried in the fine print that a lot of people glossed over. Draymond doesn't have full protection in this deal. ESPN first reported Green's signing and noted that his deal does not include a no-trade clause. For a guy who spent his whole career with one franchise, that's notable. Green, 36, has been vocal about his desire to finish his career with the only organization he has ever played for. Golden State's front office has echoed that sentiment too, but sentiment and contract language aren't always the same thing, because it's a one-year deal instead of a multi-year extension. Draymond actually holds a different kind of leverage than a no-trade clause would give him. NBA analyst Yossi Gozlan explained that Green's one-year contract allows him to veto any trade, since players on one-year contracts can lose valuable bird rights through trades, which might hurt their future value in free agency. So they automatically get a de facto veto power and must consent to any trade. So even without a formal clause, he's not going anywhere unless he agrees to it. What this really sets up is a make-or-break year for the Warriors. Draymond Green is returning for a 15th season with the Golden State Warriors, but playing on an expiring contract means he'll likely hit unrestricted free agency next summer, and expiring contracts are the types of deals most commonly packaged in trades. This isn't a guy who just got locked down for the rest of his career. This is a guy who got paid top dollar for one more shot, with everything after that still completely unwritten. And it's not just Draymond in that boat. The whole core is sitting on short-term paper right now. Green, Curry, Butler, and Brandon Podziemski are all now on expiring contracts for 2026-27, with Podziemski extension eligible immediately, Curry becoming eligible on August 29, and Butler following in February, lining up a busy stretch of extension decisions for Golden State's front office, layered on top of whatever happens on the court this season. So the number that's making headlines, Draymond out-earning LeBron, isn't really about Draymond suddenly becoming a bigger financial priority than LeBron ever was. It's the byproduct of a single failed pursuit, a hometown discount that never actually needed to happen, and a front office scrambling to keep its aging core together for one more shot at a ring. Outrageous NBA world reacts to Warriors inking four-time champion Draymond Green to $27.7 million deal, as the NBA world was quick to pan the Warriors for valuing sentimentality over strategy. That reaction, the idea that Golden State overpaid out of loyalty rather than logic, is exactly where the noise around this story really took off. And it didn't stop with anonymous fan accounts. Once the numbers were out there, Draymond's $27.7 million next to LeBron's $8 million total. The NBA world didn't stay quiet about it. This wasn't a story that just lived in salary databases. It became something people were actively arguing about within hours. The most direct pushback came from fans of the Warriors themselves, frustrated that the front office handed out that much money on a short-term deal instead of building depth elsewhere. One fan account summed up the mood bluntly online, asking if a GP2 signing next would be all the front office had planned for an entire offseason. Only a one-year deal interesting, let me guess next is GP2 and they call it an offseason, they wrote on X. Several in the NBA world felt that the Warriors gave Green more than he is worth at age 36. Then came the analysts breaking down the mechanics of the deal, questioning why there wasn't more protection built in, given how long Draymond has been with the franchise. One insider pointed out that despite being eligible for a no-trade clause, the front office didn't include one, framing it as proof the Warriors would have gone bigger only if the LeBron pursuit had actually landed. Despite being eligible, there is not a no-trade clause in Draymond Green's one-year contract, per source. It's the same as the player option he gave up. Warriors would have given longer-term deal if they landed LeBron James, but didn't, he wrote. Even the trade rumor mill got in on it, with at least one national writer floating the idea of moving Draymond entirely rather than paying him at that number for a single year. Psy writer Alex Golden suggested trading Green to the Warriors for Trey Murphy III. While all that was swirling around Draymond's deal, Draymond himself wasn't shying away from the elephant in the room. Why his friend picked Philadelphia over the team that had just cleared its books hoping he'd say yes. He didn't sound blindsided at all. "I wasn't blindsided because I know a few people that know a few people," he said, "and I knew the stuff was in the works, so I wasn't quite blindsided. However, I didn't know exactly when the announcement would come. I didn't know exactly how the announcement would come." Draymond went further, laying out his own theory on why LeBron never seriously considered wearing a Warriors uniform, despite the money being cleared and waiting for him. He pointed to years of playoff battles that never quite left the rearview mirror. "You look at Golden State, and I ultimately don't think Bron was ever able to get over the history, and I understand it. I get it. I think what we all ultimately always knew is, that's the hurdle to get over, you know? I don't think it's the team. I don't think it's the organization, anything else. I think it's the history." He didn't stop at history either. Draymond suggested the noise LeBron would have faced from critics if he'd teamed up with Curry played just as big a role as anything on the court. "We live in a day and age where everybody who doesn't have anything to say have something to say, and so he's gonna get crushed if he comes to the Warriors. Ah, man, you went to team up with Steph. Ah, you had to go to them." All the things that people would have said. And I think ultimately that weighed in on the decision a lot. That take didn't go unnoticed around the league either. Charles Barkley, never one to hold back on live television, had already floated similar criticism about how joining Golden State would have been viewed. Green went on to explain how had James joined the Warriors, the NBA media would have instantly ripped apart his legacy for ring chasing, as Charles Barkley already hinted at in his live reaction to the news. Draymond, for his part, wasn't buying the idea that Philadelphia was some easier path to a ring either. He made clear moving to a new roster doesn't hand anyone anything. "I don't know that going to the 76ers is chasing a ring," Green said. "You gotta go do the work to bring that to that place." And when Draymond addressed his own contract publicly the same day, he tied the two stories together almost by accident, talking about staying with Golden State in the same breath as explaining LeBron's decision to leave. Green's comments came on the same day he reportedly agreed to a one-year $27.7 million contract to return to the Warriors, saying he ultimately didn't think LeBron was ever able to get over the history, that he understood it, that he got it, and that what everyone always knew was that's the hurdle to get over. Not the team, not the organization, anything else. So while the salary comparison was blowing up timelines, the story wasn't really about a rivalry over paychecks. It was two friends on opposite ends of a single decision, one who gave up guaranteed money to try to make a reunion happen, and one who never seriously considered saying yes to it in the first place. That leaves one more piece of the puzzle. What happens now that both of these numbers are locked in, and what it actually says about where these two players are in their careers? So where does this actually leave things? LeBron is heading into a Philadelphia locker room where he's not even the highest paid guy on the bench. James becomes the 7th highest paid player on the team, as VJ Edgecombe, Dean Wade, and Anthony Simons will all make more than him as well. That's a stunning sentence for anyone who's watched his career unfold. But it clearly wasn't a sticking point for him at all. The financial reality behind that decision is straightforward once you look at his full earning picture. From his total earnings, James made $85 million in off-field income alone, with only Shohei Ohtani ahead of him in that category, having made $125 million, not counting his baseball salary. A basketball salary, even a big one, isn't what's funding LeBron's life at this stage. It's a small slice of a much bigger financial picture, one that includes business ventures, media deals, and investments that dwarf anything the Sixers could offer him. Still, the scale of what he gave up on the court is historic in its own right. This will be his lowest salary as an NBA player, lower than his original rookie contract, which paid him $4.02 million, marking the first time since 2013-14 that he's making under $20 million in a season. 2 decades of being one of the highest paid athletes on the planet, and now he's making rookie-scale money by comparison. Meanwhile, Draymond's situation is the opposite kind of story. Not a superstar taking a discount for love of the game, but a longtime role player landing a premium number because of circumstances that had almost nothing to do with his own leverage. He was previously making $25.8 million with an option for $27.5 million before becoming an unrestricted free agent at 34, when it would be tough to see which team would be willing to pay a player on the decline that much money. Yet here he is, a couple of years later, sitting at the same number, thanks to a domino chain that started with his own friend's decision. What ties both of these stories together isn't really about who deserves more money. It's about what each guy actually valued when the number got put in front of him. LeBron looked at Philadelphia and decided a shot at one more championship mattered more than protecting a paycheck he didn't need anyway. Draymond looked at Golden State and decided staying with the only franchise he's ever known was worth giving up leverage for. Twice. Once, when he opted out to chase the LeBron pairing, and again, when he accepted a 1-year deal without a no-trade clause, once that chase came up empty. Neither guy blinked when the money didn't line up the way people expected. LeBron didn't renegotiate for more once he picked Philadelphia. Draymond didn't demand a longer deal once the Warriors came calling again. Both of them just took the number in front of them and moved forward. That's really what makes the comparison land the way it does. It's not that Draymond suddenly out-earned one of the greatest players ever because he became more valuable than LeBron on the court. It's that LeBron, at this stage of his career, stopped treating the paycheck as the point at all. And that opened the door for a very different kind of number to end up looking bigger by comparison. Where this goes from here is still very much unwritten. LeBron's deal includes a player option that could keep him in Philadelphia for a second season, or send him into another free agency decision entirely. ESPN's Shams Charania also reported there is a real chance James plays both years of his contract in Philadelphia. Draymond, on the other hand, is staring down another trip to free agency next summer, this time with no guarantee the Warriors will be in position to offer him anything close to what he just signed for. It also means Green becomes a free agent next summer, just like the majority of the Warriors roster. 2 friends, 2 very different paths, and one very unexpected number sitting between them for at least the next 12 months. Whatever happens on the court this season, that number isn't going away. And it's not hard to imagine LeBron and Draymond bringing it up themselves, on a podcast, on a broadcast, or just standing courtside laughing about how it all worked out this way. Sources: Warriors News, Draymond Green gets same $27.7 million contract. He originally opted out of clutch points. Warriors rumors, Draymond Green faced with multiple options for new contract after LeBron James miss. Clutch points grades for every free agent signing extension. Draymond, LeBron, Wemby, and more. ESPN, Draymond Green, Warriors agree to new contract. Full details. After LeBron James' pursuit. Bleacher Report, what Draymond Green's return means. For the Warriors' present and future, SF Standard reports. Draymond Green, Warriors agree to 1-year deal. NBA.com, Draymond Green re-signs. With Warriors on 1-year, $27.7 million deal after LeBron pursuit. Falls through Bettors Insider. Outrageous, NBA world reacts. To Warriors inking 4-time champion Draymond Green to $27.7 million deal. Yahoo Sports Draymond Green contract. Salary and cap hit 2026. Spotrac what Andrew Wiggins contract extension means for Draymond Green. SI, Draymond Green returns to Golden State for $27 million after Warriors. Pursuit of LeBron James falls flat outkick. Draymond Green changes his mind with new Warriors deal as LeBron James chooses 76ers. Bolavip, how LeBron James's decision to join 76ers impacted Draymond Green's new Warriors contract. Side, Draymond Green gave his coping reason for why LeBron James didn't want to sign with Warriors. SI, Draymond Green re-signs with Warriors, explains why he thinks LeBron James didn't come to Golden State. CBS Sports, Draymond Green gives negative update on Warriors contract. Heavy, Draymond Green thinks LeBron James declined Warriors trade over fan opinion. And history complex. Draymond Green should be officially back with Warriors after LeBron James chooses 76ers. Yahoo Sports, Draymond Green explains why he wasn't blindsided by LeBron James choosing 76ers. NBC Sports Bay Area, Draymond Green, LeBron James wasn't able to get over the history with Warriors yardbarker. Here's why. LeBron can afford to take a pay cut to join the 76ers. Yahoo Sports. Here's why LeBron can afford to take a pay cut to join the 76ers. Forbes, LeBron James is going to take the biggest pay cut in NBA history. Hoops hype LeBron James. Contract details. Why NBA star took massive pay cut to join 76ers over Heat. Cavs, Warriors, Yahoo Sports, LeBron James explains his $8 million contract with the 76ers and why he left the Lakers. Yahoo Sports, LeBron James' 76ers contract explained, smallest salary of his career and an option for a 25th season. CBS Sports, LeBron James agrees to 76ers contract after leaving Lakers. Full details on pay cut revealed. Bleacher Report.